Good morning from Austria. You are watching JF Motorcycles, in-depth motorcycle reviews, and today is a very special day because I was invited to press meeting to introduce new models of BMW R 1250 GS in Austria, close to Salzburg. It's 11th of October, but the weather, it's still more than perfect, I have to say. I'm very happy today, and I'm even more happy when I now see this. So this is BMW, the new model R 1250 GS for 2019 basically. This is the standard blue model, not anything like rally, or it's called HP today. Anything like super to off-road, but rather for road use. With the new engine, that's the most important thing. 1250cc Shiftcam, which is the variant of sort of variable valve timing. I will tell you more when we ride. And nowadays it has more changes. The new version of dynamic ESA suspension. It has now the TFT display in standard, which is great, nice to have, and the LED lights in standard, which I'm also very happy about. Very good is that I tested today different versions, so HP, sort of a ready packet, and exclusive of course, and this one. Also I'll be riding the RT, you know, the big travel motorcycle, so I can tell you what are the differences. But now, this is the first riding impressions, nothing super in-depth, and let's go ride. So welcome to Austria again. I'm sitting on the BMW R 1250 GS, the new model for 2019, and I will try to do like my first riding impression and tell you more about the engine itself, what is new in there. So 1250 GS is the new family of boxer engines in RT and GS motorcycles. It has about 80 cc more. It has more power whatsoever, really, mainly more power and torque in like a middle of the RPM range and the high RPM range. You can really rev it freely to 9,000 RPM, and you feel more adrenaline than on the previous generation. It accelerates way more quickly. The feeling is comparable. It's the still boxer engine, is very similar, but it pushes way more harder than on the previous generation. And you can feel it, or you can see it on the torque curves on the dyno when you compare these two engines. There is no such a big difference in the low RPM range, but it's everything in the middle and in the higher revs. So speaking in numbers, it's 136 horsepower or 100 kilowatts in 7,750 RPM, and the maximum torque level is 143 newton meters in 6,250 RPM, which is awesome. It's the most torquier, I think, engine on the market in enduros, and of course the Ducati and KTM are stronger engines, but who needs 160 plus horsepower in the enduro? Not me. Maybe you are the one, but I don't need it. The very important thing, the very big upgrade, is the new technology of Shiftcam, which is the variant of basically variable valve timing. Here, how it works, it's very important. So there are two sets of cams on the camshaft, of the intake camshaft, and they are changing, and not in the exact point, like for example on the Honda engines, but it depends on basically on the level of torque, or depends on the throttle reaction, or how much you push it, and there are more to talk about. So basically after 5,000 RPM you always do on the stronger variant of camshaft, so you have the full level of opening the intake valves, but under the 5,000 RPM it very depends on your style of riding. So when you don't need the extra power, you don't have it, like for example right now it's constructed that on the 6th gear you can ride till 130 kilometers per hour possibly with the traction control, and you still go on the lower variant of the performance of the engine. So basically the valves, the intake valves, are not opening fully. Wow, this is nice. I love Austria, it's beautiful. So why they did it? They did it because they want more power and more torque, of course, to keep up with the competition, I guess. Also, they wanted to make this this engine more economical with less emissions and less fuel consumption, which works. And I have to tell you that even though we push it hard quite today on this press event, I still have the consumption in the level of 5.3 liters per 100 kilometers, and that's awesome. It's a very modern unit. It's, if I understand it correctly, this is only one motorcycle engine which is now ready for the EU5 compliant, and which will be probably on public in 2012. So it doesn't have a certificate right now, of course, because it's not possible, but it's ready for that. So it's a very modern engine. The sound, the feeling of the engine is sort of a similar. I have to say that in comparison with the previous generation. Also the quick shifter here in standard, I don't know if it's standard, probably not, but it works same. So it's not that smooth. It depends on how much of the, how much of the torque or how much you again push it. So in the high RPM and in a full throttle, it works smooth, but in some normal situation, colleagues, hello, it still doesn't work probably that good as on the BMW S1000 XR or these sort of bikes. But the performance of the bike, of the new engine, is just really stunning. It accelerates very, very, very fast, and I have to say that even maybe, let's say from 150 to 200 kilometers per hour, on the gear you choose, it can be 6 or 5. It's just very quick, and there you feel the difference between the two generations very much, I have to say. So the level of adrenaline is still not something like extremely increased. It's better, but it's not the adrenaline, sort of motorcycle. If you want to ride super wild and feel maybe a little danger or anything, don't buy this one, because this is very comfortable travel machine, which can take you in the end of the world with the really feeling of the all luxury and safety, and it can be very fast and very economical, but not such a wild experience. I think the brakes and everything stays the same. It's now marked as BMW and not Brembo, but they are still Brembo inside. The TFT displays in standard these days. The very interesting fact is that when you have the cold motorcycle, you will see the red ref line in about 5,000 RPM, which many people discuss, like what does it mean? But it just means that it tries to tell you that you shouldn't rev it more when it's cold. I think this is quite handy. No changes on the controlling the motorcycle, all the controllers here. There is a new SOS unit which can call the police and ambulance when you crash the bike automatically, and but of course you can very easily cancel it if you are okay. So I think this is a nice one. There is new automatic ESA suspension, the new level upgrade. So now you don't need to set up your weight, or basically telling how many passengers are there or how many luggages are there. It just do it for you automatically. That's a nice one. I can't tell you whether it's more comfortable than the previous generation, because they are both on the almost the highest level of what you can imagine, and it's just something I really like and enjoy. Very good thing is that I tested the HP version as well, which is the new Rally, basically the new Rally packet, which is different seat, different colors, different windshield, and probably some other stuff, and also this classic blue color BMW with the classic aluminum wheels. I like more the design of the HP. That's probably everyone here, but I feel more better on this one. And it's surprisingly, I'm surprised about it, because I'm always very happy when I can go off-road, and this is a more road version. But sort of the different seating, you have more material in the seat basically here on this version, and it's just better when you want to plan, when you plan to spend 90+% on the road. I would probably, by myself, I would pick this version rather than the HP. That's my opinion. Another interesting thing is, maybe you hadn't had the chance to test the Adventure BMW R 1200 GS. There is no 1250 GS Adventure, to put things clear, right now. It will be on EICMA, it will be on sale I think next spring, but right now I can compare this new 1250 with the previous generation of 1200 GS Adventure, and that there is 20 liters tank, and then on the other version is 30 liters tank, and you really feel that the Adventure is super wide, and here suddenly you feel way more agile, and it's discussion between 20 and 30 liters, and I have to say 30 liters brings different level of comfort. It's just, you don't need to think about it. But still, you still reach something like 350 or 400 kilometers the distance on the one tank, which is still fair enough. And I really like how nimble this bike is, despite the weight 249 kilos plus 5 kilos in comparison to the previous generation. It's very nimble. It doesn't matter, like even in the slow speed steering and high speed steering, it's just a pleasure to ride it, and it's just very comfortable, no problems at all. You just think of the changing direction and suddenly it changes. So this is really optimistic. And again, if I didn't see the new version of the Adventure, like 1250 GS, so maybe it will surprise me, but on the same condition, I would buy the normal non-Adventure. Also because of the off-road usage, where I found Adventure for me too heavy and too difficult to maneuver in the off-road, and with this one should be all okay. So these are my first impression with 1250 GS from Austria. I hope you liked it. Basically my task or my vision, my mission on YouTube is to create very in-depth, very transparent and honest reviews of motorcycles. So I hope you like this one, and if you do, please support me by like or subscribing to my channel or sharing with your friends or anything like that. Thank you very much, and see you again on some of my other episodes. Thank you and bye.